Okay, so we are talking about the year 1985 and KROQ, and we've been looking at all the songs from 106.7 to number one, and then I happened to be looking at what was going on in Dramarama's life, and I didn't realize for some I always assumed that Cinema Verite came out in '86, but it came out in late 1985.
Yes, but it was only released in France, and it was originally a French album, and came out in November, and was only available as an import in the United States until late '86. About a year later, we put it out ourselves.
All right, so
after it was on the radio in Los Angeles.
Okay, so explain this French connection. How did this all fall into place?
Well, we started the band and in the basement of a record store in Wayne, New Jersey. It was like we were trying to be like Bleecker Bob's or a cool Manhattan record store, but Wayne, New Jersey wasn't the place. It was 15 miles from Manhattan, but it might as well have been in Kentucky because it wasn't the place for a cool rock record store. But we were selling import 45s and independent American 45s, and we said we can make records as good as that. So we went in the studio and we started recording and in the basement. It was just experimenting more or less, and then went into a real studio and started doing some recordings and made a 45, and that came out in '82. And that led to a review in the Trouser Press magazine, which was kind of a rock and roll, new wave magazine, if you will. And that got picked up by a DJ in France who read about us and started playing us. And then we put out an EP called Comedy, which he also played and presented to a record label in France called New Rose Records, which specialized in American artists. Pretty much, I think they put out the Replacements, Let It Be. They put out records by the Cramps and Johnny Thunders and mostly American artists, but it was based in Paris, and that's how the album came out there.
So it was kind of random. I thought that might have been some association with with Cinema Verite, that there was some association, but it just was random
Yeah, it was just it all went into the my take on songwriting too. It's kind of like making movies, and it's a style of film, and it also runs through the films of Andy Warhol, I guess, and that picture of Edie Sedgwick, which is on the cover.
Yeah. Were you a film major? Was this something you were studying back in when you were?
I took some classes, and I was just always a film buff, as they say. Yeah. I liked movies a lot, and if it was as easy to make records as it is, I mean, if it was as easy to make movies as it is to make records, I probably would have gone into that. Mm-hmm. But it's a lot easier to be in a band and just have to wrangle a couple of guys and tell them what to do. Whereas I can't even imagine how hard it must be to be a director of a film and have a whole crew and all that. It's just too complicated.